Hey guys, I want to go ahead and show you guys how to do some of these various equations. Some of these problems can get a little bit tricky, but if you know the basic steps, they're not that hard. Now you notice here these are binomials. You're gonna have to go ahead and distribute. Use the FOIL method. Some of you use the box method. I'm gonna go ahead and use the box method. So let me go ahead and make my box here. Okay, you want to put x minus 6 on the top, and remember whatever's in front of that number, you have to use it. On this side over here, you can have x plus 3. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and just fill it in. So inside we're going to have x squared minus 6x on the top, and over here we're going to have the positive 3x. On the bottom we're going to have negative 18. So as you can see, we can combine the negative 6 and the positive 3. So we're going to go ahead and get x squared minus 3x minus 18. Alright, so that's the left side. Now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the right side. Alright, making sure x plus 6 and then x minus 1. Make sure you use that negative. And then same thing at the corner, we're going to get x squared plus 6x on the top right minus or negative 1x and negative 6. Again, you see here, negative 1, positive 6. That's going to give you x squared, 6 minus 1, well that's a positive 5x, minus 6. Now right here we have two equations, or two expressions. We set them equal to each other. Now we're going to go ahead and start combining like terms, and what you want to go ahead and do is start off with the x squared. You notice that you have the same thing on the right as the left. They're both positive. Technically you can just go ahead and cross them out. It's like if you would remove the same thing from both sides. But I'm just going to do it algebraically. So I'm going to do a minus x squared. And you can tell this guy disappears. So does this guy. I'm left with negative 3x minus 18. And then I have 5x minus 6. And that makes it an easier equation to work with. Okay, now remember, a lot of students look at it, oh, negative 3, positive 5, oh, that's a 2. No, it's not. Remember, okay, you want to go ahead and combine like terms. So this guy, I think I'll put him over here. Remember, he becomes the opposite. So to undo a negative 3, we have to put a positive 3, both sides. That's going to give me 8x. Okay. And I should just go ahead and bring everything down, minus 6. And that's an 18th. But remember, there's a minus, there's a negative in the front, so you have to go ahead and use that. Okay. Now over here, there's a negative 6. To do the opposite, plus 6 on both sides. Okay, that simplifies out. We're left with 8x is equal to, well, negative 18 plus 6. You should get negative 12. Okay, now we didn't get a whole number when we divide, but that's okay. Let me bring it over here. Divide by 8 on both sides. Okay, so 8x divided by 8. That simplifies into a 1. So x is going to equal to, divide both the top and the bottom by 4. You're going to get negative 3 and positive 2. Alright guys, so once you know how to go ahead and use the binomial method, FOIL it, or do the box method, area model, start bringing things over across, and then canceling. Just make sure, remember, the negative 3 becomes a positive 3 on the other side. Alright, let's go ahead and do a couple more of these problems. How about number 2? I like this problem a lot. A lot of my students do 3 minus 2, they put a 1. But remember, you have to go ahead and do multiplication before you go ahead and add or subtract. It's the order of operations. So first you have to do 2 times 2. But remember, there's a minus in the front, so that's negative 2 times 4, which is a negative 4x. And then negative 2 times negative 5, that's a positive 10. Okay, negative 2 times negative 5. Okay, now we can go ahead and put our 17 there, bring down the 3. And now we can go ahead and start combining things. Now if you notice, we have a 3 and a 10. Now, a lot of students think, oh, 3 take away 10. But no, what's in front of the 10? Okay, 3 plus 10 is 13. And then minus 4x equals 17. If you want to go ahead and put negative 4x plus 13, that's perfectly fine. Okay, maybe I should put or. You can do this, negative 4x plus 13. That's perfectly fine also. Just make sure, okay, what's in front of the 4? A negative. What's in front of the 13? Well, there's nothing there. That means it's a positive. Make sure you keep that in order, okay, guys? Now we go ahead and just continue solving it. Remember, students see 13 and 17, they think 30. No. Okay, remember, it's the opposite. That becomes a minus 13. Minus 13. Okay. All right, well, 17 minus 13, that is, that is 4. Over here, I have negative 4x. Don't forget that negative on the front. Well, when we divide by both sides by negative 4, remember, you have to use this guy. Whatever's in front, you have to use them. Therefore, x is equal to negative 1. Okay? So biggest thing, guys, just make sure you distribute first. You use this negative that's in the front. Negative 2 times negative 5, that's a positive 10. Okay, and then right here when you're combining 3, well, what's in front of the 10? It's a plus, so it's 3 plus 10. Alright, let's go ahead and do a couple more of these. Absolute value. Remember, absolute value has two solutions. Alright, and the reason is because, well, if I ask you what's the absolute value of 3, you're going to say 3. What's the absolute value of negative 3? Hopefully you still remember it's still 3 also. So there's two possibilities to the same answer. So that's why when we do absolute value, we have to break it apart into two equations. And notice how I do this, okay? 4 minus 3y equals positive 10, okay? And, or, I'm going to go ahead and do this one also. 4 minus 3y equals negative 10. I don't change anything on the inside, okay? The 4 minus 3y stays the same, okay? The only thing that changes is the one on the outside, the equal sign. So then I go ahead and do it. Now be careful, okay? You have to make sure what's in front of the 4. Well, that's a positive 4. If you want to solve it, undo it, you got to put a minus 4. Minus 4. Okay? Put my equal sign, that's a 6. That's a 3y. But what's in front of the 3? That's a negative. Okay, now to undo that, divide. Divide. Y is going to equal to negative 2. That's my first solution. The next one, I do the same thing. The 4, what's in front of the 4? Well, that's a plus. So if I want to undo this guy, I got to put a minus 4. Both sides, like so. That guy becomes a 0. Okay, negative 10, negative 4 is negative 14. There's a 3y again. There's a negative in the front. Divide by negative 3. Don't forget that negative in the front. Negative and negative is a positive, and you can leave it as an improper fraction. Okay, guys, so remember, absolute value, you have two solutions. You always have to use what's in front of this number, this constant, okay? Don't forget there's a negative in front of the 3, and you should get two solutions. And also, you can go ahead and just plug it back in here and see if you get the answer. So if I plug in negative 2 here, negative 3 times negative 2, well, that's 6, positive. 4 plus 6 is going to give me that absolute value of 10. Alright, so let's go ahead and keep going. We got two more. These are very good, a little bit complex. We're going to isolate and solve for one variable y. So what this means, guys, is you want the y on one side and you want everything else on the other side. So you got to solve for y. Okay, so what you want to do is combine like terms. So I always like to put my whatever I'm solving for on the left side. So you notice this is a negative y. Well, to undo it, I have to put a positive y. It's going to combine over here. Okay, that guy's going to cancel out. And I'm left with 5x plus 3y is going to be equal to, what do we have left? 3x plus 15. Well, I want to combine these x's, but remember, this does not become 8x. Okay, you have to undo it. But if I have my y on the left, I need to take this guy over here to the right. So make it a negative 5x, negative 5x. That cancels. So we have 3y is equal to, be careful, 3 minus 5 is not 2. It is a negative 2. Okay, plus 15. And remember, we cannot combine these two. This guy is a constant. This guy is an x, has a variable. Okay, last thing, we're going to divide by 3. All right. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. This guy, we can leave him as a fraction. Negative 2/3 x plus 5. So you see, we solved for y. The y is by itself. Everything else is on the right. All right. Very good question. Very, very complex as well too. Last one, guys. Before I give you guys some to do on your own, these a lot of students do well with these. Remember, you have to distribute first. We're gonna solve, but don't forget you have to also multiply the back number. A lot of my students, they put 3x plus 2. No, but remember, you have to do 3 times 2 as well. We're gonna have to bring down the 4. Okay, same thing over here. 2 times x, and we're going to get 2x plus 6. Okay, now we can go ahead and combine this. So we're going to get 3x plus 10 and 2x plus 6. Now notice how I'm doing it. I'm keeping it nice and as straight as possible. I'm going down. I'm not going all over the place. The number one thing you have to focus on is just staying organized and neat. I like to put my variables on the left. So remember, this guy is a positive 2. Just because you see 3 and 2 doesn't make it a 5. Remember, it's going to the other side, so that guy becomes a negative or a minus. Okay, that becomes a 0. That simplifies out. On the right side, we're only left with a positive 6. Over here, we're left with x plus 10. Okay, then I want to take this guy over here. Alright, well, that becomes a minus 10. Okay, and that becomes a 0. X equals, well, what's 6 minus 10? Well, negative 4. The other thing you can think about, guys, also, what is the math telling you? Well, some number plus 10 has to give me 6. Well, if you come up with positive 4, 4 plus 10 is not going to give you 6. It has to be a negative number. So always when you're doing this, think about the problem. Does it make sense? And is it accurate? Alright, guys, so hopefully that helps. Let me go ahead and give you guys some to work on your own. So these are some practice problems. Take a look at these. Okay, there's just 5 of them. So the ones that we've done today, work through them. Send me a message if you get stuck, and I'll go ahead and do some more video, guys. Alright, guys, good luck.